Yo, welcome. This is Mefjus once again with Particles. This time we're in my studio, where I'll walk you through the track Amber I did with Skeptical. And let's jump right in. So I use Cubase for this track. We use Cubase 8. I did switch to Cubase 10 now, but this was done in Cubase 8. So basically, the track is really simple, as you might have guessed. It's pretty much, what is it? It is five main stems: drums, effects, Foley recordings, the main bass riff, and the intro stuff. And yeah, let's just go through the whole track quickly and see what we got. Just play from the top. So as I mentioned in the audio commentary, the way this track came together was that Skeptical came over with a track idea, and I just had a drum set pretty much pre-made, which we can listen to right now. Pretty simple stuff here, nothing too special. We can have a deeper look into maybe just kick and snare to begin with. So I think the kick was some instances of Serum, but also, it's one instance of Serum, but also Ashley's original kick layered as a sort of bass extension to the kick. So that's the bass drum. And you see without Ashley's layers, it would be quite thin. Not necessarily thin, but shorter. And with Ashley's addition, there's a little bit of a rumble going on. And I think this is just like a top end sort of click. Yeah, it's very subtle. Maybe a word to the Serum kick. I just really enjoy working with Serum, as you might already know. And what I like about Serum is you can basically separate your kick into two instances. That's how I work. And you can have your click, your transient of the kick separate from the body of your kick, which makes mixing and phase aligning a little bit easier. And then, as I said, in addition, there's a little tail going on, so the kick gets more weight. Snare, similar approach, if I remember correctly. I think it was a Serum sort of fundamental. Oh, it's the top layer. Let's listen to the whole thing. See, it's quite high pitched. Haven't done it in a while. Thought it might suit the track, and I think it did. That's some noise. So yeah, that's a fundamental. Again, it's a clipped sine wave. And same approach. You can separate your transient from your fundamental sound, and together it will create the nice snare. With two noise layers made in Serum as well, give him a little bit of a hiss sort of tail. And again, I used Ashley's original snare as a fundamental layer, and then I sidechained a bit, and to me it sounded more round. And that's how the snare came together. Nothing super special here, but I think the combination of the very muddy kick and the very high-pitched snare sort of balance the track nicely. And the hi-hats, again, I think it's pretty much Ashley's original hats. Yeah, I put another little hat groove in there, so that's Skeppy's original stuff. Really subtle 4/4, little bit distorted. It's just a layer using the Groove Agent by Cubase. Very simple drum sampler. Does the job, really does the job. And the other two folders here is just this little tone note on the one on every other kick. Gives it some stereo width. Also, there's some cymbals at the end of every 4 bar, just to switch it up a little bit. Also pretty standard. And I got another cymbal loop going on as an update after 16 bars, which is over here. and oops, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, I think the drums work really well. Again, like I said earlier, I really enjoy the way the kick works against the snare, or vice versa, and that's a nice balance we found there, I think. And this track is all about, you know, the subtlety. What can you get away with without being too underwhelming in a way, almost. That's what we tried to do with this. And yeah, I'm really happy with the drums. I think they suit the song quite well. Another thing to look at would be the effects section here. It's pretty much, it gives the track the sort of tone. If you listen to the song, you hear every 8 bars, there's this weird drone coming in, and that sort of really glued the track together in a way. Because in a way it's quite atonal. It doesn't really fit. I think it's an F sharp, and the original track is an F, but it kind of gives it this odd sort of vibe. And that was actually done by accident. I think we had this weird bass set up, like a send effect, which was one of those really weird sort of lucky accidents. I think we deleted it from the main project then after all. But it was a weird tape delay that sort of went over a 16-bar edit we made somewhere, and it sounded really great. So I just bounced it in different versions, different frequency ranges. That's really low. That's really up high. And there's another one really washed out with reverb. But those tonal drones, they really give the track its oddness in a way. Yeah, furthermore, you know, the classics, little noise sort of sweeps and little risers and stuff. Yeah, pretty easily done in Serum. You know, just map a noise on an FM oscillator and let it do its job using Serum's internal effects. Pretty standard stuff here. And that's the effect I was just talking about. You know, one of those delays here are running over the bar transition, and that's why it sounds so cool, and that's what we rendered. Maybe let's have a look at the most essential thing of the song, which is, I think, the bass riff. And if you were listening to the commentary track, we were talking about the original riff being quite simple, and we just stacked more sounds on top of it, more instances of Serums to make the riff cool, or more exciting, more gritty. And that was pretty much the fundamental bass groove we had. Ashley's original sound was a sample. I wanted to recreate it so we have all the all the possibilities at the end with the Serum, so we can, you know, transpose it or whatever, make the LFOs quick or slow or whatever. So I was really aiming to get this synth redone in a sort of live environment, so we can, you know, still adjust it. And that's the main sort of bass patch. So it's a fundamental sine wave with some more harmonics dialed in, you know, with this LFO sort of timing. Nothing really special. For mix reasons, I then had another instance of this sound with another sub. You know, sometimes when you do those multiple instances of sounds, you will then pre-mix it, but then realize at the end, okay, the mids are missing some volume, or the sub is, and rather than just going into that one bus which combines all the patches, I'd rather, you know, not EQ that, but bring in another Serum or another synth or whatever, phase align it with original patch, and then boost those frequencies I need to be boosted. And that's why those three synths are doing pretty much the same thing. It's literally just emphasizing certain harmonics for the whole bass riff. So if we, you know, listen to the bass riff here as a whole, you see it's always the same MIDI information. It's literally just copy and pasting the same patch, but then changing the internal effects, the distortion, the FM amount or whatever, and then I routed all those mid-range instances into one bus. It's called top layer. You can jump there, and then it's treated together. Not massively though, but I used another Serum FX instance, and we can listen to this bus just by itself for a second there. It's called top layer. Here we go. So that's, oops, you need to also play the trigger, otherwise it doesn't work. So that's all those mid-range copies from the same original sound coming back together and getting another sort of movement here and there. So you see, we're taking out, with this low pass, we're taking out the high frequencies of the patch. I don't think this this reverb is actually coming in, but it would be one of those ones. You can automate that as well, and so blow up your riff for certain moments if you need to. I don't think we did that. So that's the routing with this sort of project, which is a bit out there. So you got your three bass instances creating the fundament of the bass riff, and then you got those 3, 4, 5 top layers creating the top side of the riff. And in the end, I don't think we even routed them together. I think it's literally it's literally just a bass going into one bus. Hang on. Yeah, it's just a bass going in one bus. And then like we said before, the top layer being one bus. Maybe we should have a quick look into those individual guys here. Maybe as a comparison as well. So this is the first patch for mid-range. Let's compare it with the original bass Serum for a second. You can see it's literally just a copy. So that's the sub right there, and that's the mid-range right here. And you can see it's literally the same thing pretty much, except this instance is distorted a little bit, and this is as well, but it's low pass. This is high pass, more distorted, different distortion. So the idea is to have, as I said earlier, to have a fundamental movement of whatever, double that instance, play around with it, and adding harmonics, adding different interpretations, if you will, of that riff, and then layer those, layer those together. And the cool thing about that is, if you change one MIDI note, it will sort of translate over on different frequency ranges, because you're sort of layering synths together. All of them will be based on the original LFO groove you picked, and that's how we did it with this track as well. So let me just mute the bass one more time, the bass one more time. This is another addition of the top layer. Combined with that, and combined with that, you'll get, and again, it's the same thing, just different FM settings, different distortion. But all those together, in the end, will be your bass riff. And I think they come together quite nicely. And as a whole, I think it really works. So much for the riff. In the audio commentary, we were also talking about those Foley recordings we used. Let's maybe have a look at those as well. And those are literally sounds we recorded while we were in the studio. So let me just add a new bus here so you can listen to them. The way they're supposed to sound without any effects whatsoever. So that's literally just bass. Yeah, me coughing like always. And we just used every little outtake in this recording. It's claps. It's us just clapping or finger snapping or whatever. And it's pretty much it, and using different moments of your Foley recording. In this case, I think it's actually even some bass notes in there. Yeah, just random, and just really over compressing those, really stereo widening those sounds, and they just really help, putting some more dimension into your song. Like ultimately, without those sounds, it would still work, but it wouldn't sound as cool. If you listen to the whole track without the Foleys. You know what I mean? The riff is still the riff, but subconsciously you're wishing for some sounds that are not as synthetic. And I think those little Foleys, they really did the job. You know, they really open up the stereo width of the song as well. Makes it, you know, they make it more exciting at the end of the day. And that's what we were aiming for. And yeah, I think the arrangement is pretty straightforward. You know, we were feeling that a 32-bar intro is enough for a gesture like this. It doesn't need a super epic intro with lots of kick rolls or build up stuff or whatever. You know, the song is really minimal. It's a minimal gesture, and all those decisions we made were pretty much on purpose. You know, have the arrangement quite dense as well. I think the whole track is like just over 3 minutes long. Yeah, it's almost 4 minutes, but still, you know, everything is really, every 16 bars only happen once. You know, there's no copy paste arrangement. There's always an edit here or there, and those edits are really subtle, and that's what really makes the track for me. We can have a look at the intro sounds as well, but those are pretty much just samples Ashley provided for the song. We just rearranged them into a different sort of environment. It's all audio, pretty straightforward, impacts and stuff. I think that one is a little sound trying to emulate what we did in the intro in a sort of synthetic approach. But nothing too major going on here. I think the essence of this song is, having a little gesture, but that's maxed out sonically as far as possible, and but having that, having the story being quite fun. In the second 16, or was it in the third, where we added those little percussive sounds, which I'm really happy with. That's just it's in the third 16. That's just really cool little little edits. And they almost sound comical in a way. They're sort of making the whole 16 phrase a little bit comical and almost funny. Like, what's it supposed to say? It's like really, the sound almost says, I don't even care about the song being there in a way. It's really, really odd. And the way those things work, I think it's just pretty much a contact preset. Yeah. And we just played around with the frequency and the feedback of this frequency shifter. So I think, the feedback is being automated, and that's it really. So I think this is it. This is Amber. Really happy about the way it came out, and it was great fun working with Ashley. It's a shame he couldn't be here, to do this together. But if you want to hear some more infos about how our collaborations work, feel free to check out the audio commentary on Spotify or SoundCloud, where we talked about the song as well. And I hope this gave you guys some insights on how we work, how Cubase works, how I work. And stay tuned for the next episode. This is Particles. This was Mefjus and Skeptical Amber. And I'm out. Peace.